Look how cute my cat is. As he tries to get away. Okay. Hi there, I am Ashley Shermack. I am a 2.5-year Bachelor of Prepared Registered Nurse working currently in an emergency department here in the Twin Cities area in Minnesota. I have worked on telemetry observation. Also, I've worked ICU, but by far my favorite is emergency department. I have a great team and I love the atmosphere. I love the fast pace of it all and kind of seeing a variety of every different condition you can think of. So I am here today to tell you about some tips that I wish I would have known before I started nursing school and will definitely be helpful for you. Just in regards to nursing school in general, it is tough, so don't get me wrong, but you can get through it, stay dedicated, stay committed, have a good support system, and I promise you will pass. If I can do it, you can do it. So my first tip here today is to make sure you take a well-rounded anatomy and physiology class as well as medical terminology class. Now these classes are usually before you take any nursing program anyways, but just make sure that you also, keep your notes, keep your graphs and everything, because when you get to nursing school, your professors will expect you to have already know the basics. You're going to have a lot of different disease processes thrown your way, a lot of different diagnoses, and you will have to know all the different systems, cardiovascular, pulmonary, GI, and you'll be expected to right off the bat. So if you don't have a good understanding, you're going to be lost from day one. So just make sure that you have really well-rounded notes that you can refer back to once you actually start your program. All right, my second tip is about nursing textbooks. When you see the price of these textbooks, you are going to be blown away because some of them can be $300, $400, and most of us as college students do not have that kind of money. So my recommendation is to go to Amazon bookstore. You can actually rent a lot of nursing books through that website. You won't be able to write in them, but you can have, different pieces of paper for notes and PowerPoint slides, and that will help you a lot. Additionally, I also went to half-price bookstores. They had some nursing books like the APA books and different things like that. But by far your biggest resource will be your fellow classmates, the cohorts before you, a friend of a friend at a different nursing program, because usually, you go through Mosby's, different textbooks like that, and they have the same editions coming out or very similar, and you can use those for your classes. And that will literally save you hundreds of dollars, so I highly recommend doing that. And make sure that you have your textbooks because you are going to need them. Also, to kind of go along with the whole textbook theme, I would highly recommend investing in an NCLEX book right away when you start nursing school. You might be thinking, oh, I have 2 or 3 years to get an NCLEX book to start studying for the licensure exam, but you want to get your mindset into the world of NCLEX questions. I think you might have heard the old joke, like, here's an orange, what is the closest shade? Like, it's so different than most questions that you might encounter. So I would invest in a good NCLEX book. I believe they had one in our initial package or bundle of textbooks, and that really helps. Also, I would invest in UWorld. Now, this is something I didn't have until the very end of my program when I was actually studying for the NCLEX, but it was by far the most helpful NCLEX preparer that I had. Some people use ATI or Kaplan, I believe, and those are very helpful too. UWorld is very specific. It has the exact same format of questions you'll see on the National Licensure exam, and it has the biggest, I think, I could be wrong, but it has the biggest question bank of all of them, and you will be very, very developed by the end of your program if you start at the beginning. It's on your computer, it can be in an app. It's so helpful. I would highly recommend getting that right away. My next tip is something I didn't do right away, so I'd highly recommend you do it. Cut down on other commitments. That might be hard because as college students, you have different extracurriculars, you have different volunteer opportunities, you have families, you might have a significant other. Of course, work. When I was starting nursing school, I had 2 part-time jobs, which I both loved, both of them, and that was hard to kind of cut down on things, but you're gonna have to because, as they say, you are married to nursing school. So I would highly recommend, getting your planner out, figuring out what kind of time you can carve out for work and for family activities and things like that. But try to stay on the minimal side because nursing school is going to take up all your time. And of course, commitments like doctor's appointments and dentist appointments and things you can't cut out. But even when you're in the lobby waiting to see your provider, you can pull out some flashcards and just keep studying because you're going to need to. So yeah, I would highly stress cutting down on those commitments as well as having other people keep you accountable. My next tip is something that will really help you keep connected with your fellow classmates and perhaps classmates before you, is to use a cohort Facebook page. Cohorts go, usually every semester. They're rolling cohorts, and this will kind of help you keep track of different things you might need, like scrubs, shoes, textbooks. Maybe you have to change times and schedules or different things like that. Or maybe you just need some moral support. Sometimes you can be like, oh, I am really struggling in this area. Maybe we can study together, or let's get a tutor together and we can really crack down on this. And it really helps to have, just a space where you can be honest with your fellow classmates and kind of see where they're at with things. And maybe someone will post, hey, the grades are up, and then everyone can just be excited because finals are done or something like that. It was just a super helpful resource when we were in school, and it's an easy way to connect with other people and to, kind of see your progress. I would highly recommend it. My 6th tip is a very simple one. I'm sure you're already doing it, but make sure you have a good planner. It's a lifesaver when you have to keep track of all these different courses and all these different tests and papers. And clinical schedules, of course. So get a good planner, get a good binder for each semester. What I did was I had different sectionals for every different class, even maybe different modules for classes. That might sound a little excessive, but it'll help in the long run to keep organized. You can keep your PowerPoint slides in there, keep line papers for all your notes and different things like that. You can even keep like conversion measurements in the back of them just as a little quick help along with anything else you might need in there, and make sure it's semester by semester or even quarter by quarter. Also, I would recommend getting color-coded markers and highlighters and using them for your books if you can write in them. Again, if you're renting, don't do that. But I would use them for different notes, use for the pens when you're listening to lecture, and maybe something bold like a big statement you have to remember, or even your professor's like, hey, this might be on the test. Just a simple thing like putting it in red will really help you down the long haul. Yeah, just get organized, make sure you have a nice little desk space. Anything like that will help in the long run. It's the little things that'll definitely add up. My last tip for you today is just to get your mindset and perspective right when going into nursing school. People don't lie, it's a very hard program. You have to really be dedicated. You have to be open to learning. You can't go in there and pretend you know everything, because that's just going to be hurtful to you, hurtful to your patients. And so you have to always be in a learning spirit, a teachable spirit, as you should approach everything in life, but especially in nursing school. Also be open to different opportunities that might present itself to you, whether it be leadership opportunities as a student, or maybe helping with different cohorts below you. Those things will definitely help you in the long run. Just realize that nursing school might be a struggle. It was for me. I had to, go through a period of retaking some things, and was very difficult, and I didn't think I was going to stick with nursing school, but I'm really thanking God that I did, because I love what I do, and now I get to go to be a nurse practitioner. I'm going to start school here in January, so I'm very, very grateful for that. I would just highly suggest praying before starting your day. It's, just a little moment of quiet and clarity. It gets difficult at times, but definitely lean on your family, your friends, and your fellow classmates. They know how to help you. They will provide some, some moral support, because they've been there and they know what's going on and what's going through your head too. And so those are my tips for nursing school. I know all of you guys will do great. I know that it might seem a little daunting, but you can get through it. Like I said before, if I got through it, you can get through it. Well, thank you for listening to my tips for nursing school, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.